Harry?
There
Oh,
we go.
there you are.
There we go.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome back to a little band of misfits, Gary.
Thank you.
Um, uh, well, I don't know about you, but I'm ready for college football season to start. I mean, that's why I'm wearing the War Eagle shirt. That's Auburn's little tagline. And um, I don't really think you know much about college football as much as I do, but that's okay. But I mean, we all have our unique interests. So,
Yeah, I'm more than ready for the summer in Texas to be over. I mean, we were lucky to visit the zoo these past 2 days with a break from the triple digits.
yeah, I actually visited that zoo when I went down there.
Yeah, I know. I think we were showing you the place last time.
Yep, you definitely were. So, so we are. So Gary, we didn't have like a bunch of guests for Aladdin or Lion King or Pocahontas, but now we have you back and for Hunchback of Notre Dame, a rather
And yeah, welcome back, Gary.
Thank you.
a rather sub loose adaptation of the French novel of the same name, and which has had a bunch of film adaptations, and I know exactly where you got Quasimodo's athletic ability from. The silent version from with Lon Chaney from 100 years back, 1923.
Yeah. Yeah. And of all of those film adaptations, we tried to watch every single one, starting with Lon Chaney. Um, Anthony Quinn was in one. Um, God, I mean, there were a lot. And I believe we're the only one where they had singing gargoyles, but uh, yeah, I mean, Victor Hugo did mention that Quasimodo was very strong, and would like move around the bell towers in a he would climb and wasn't just moving around in a I guess what you call a traditional way. So we and certainly Lon Chaney took that kind of direction to heart, and so yeah, we felt absolutely free to have him be just crazy athletic, a parkour master.
Oh yeah, the legendary parkour parkour champion. I even heard that they were able to do one of those parkour champions things in Red Bull in like that ancient city, that white with the blue roofs, that city in Greece with the blue roofs and the white buildings. They did a
Yeah.
parkour thing. I know Quasimodo would just win that
Huh.
championship. Yeah, baby, just win. Yeah, so much like the book, it revolves around Quasimodo's son relationship with the gypsy girl Esmeralda, and at, as much as and it also has I think it was the 1939 film version with Charles Lawton, actually, where he swings in, saves Esmeralda, jumps right back up to the cathedral, and he says "Sanctuary," and you actually had that in the movie. But wasn't that also in the book too?
Yes, it was.
Oh, nice! Oh, nice! I just
I've seen the book before, but I didn't read much of it. I think that first chapter was just like the whole description of the Notre Dame itself, as if Victor Hugo wanted to explain all the details to anybody that may not ever come to Paris.
yeah.
Supposedly, the cathedral was kind of in a state of disrepair at that time, and one of Victor Hugo's main concerns for writing the book was, like you say, to describe all the details, but in order to kind of save the cathedral. It was his aim he wanted it restored, and he felt very proud of it, as a part of Paris, and as a citizen of Paris, and he was afraid it was just going to be let fall apart, fall into disrepair, and so he crafted this story around Notre Dame du Paris, um, as as a way of bringing attention to this, what he thought was an architectural masterpiece.
It is to me, and the whole climax of this movie, where there's a lot of red light and fire, and those pouring of the cauldron of the lava bit, and the hellish landscape with which Quasimodo and fights some of these goons around the church. Unfortunately, I did not know. It just became all too real. Around 2019, I just suddenly see something like Notre Dame is on fire. I was like, "What? Notre Dame is on fire?
Yeah.
No, don't do this to me." And my friend Ruth, when I met her at a conference that earlier this year, she said when she saw that, a part of her died or something like that.
It was really sad.
But Notre Dame has been worked on and is now going to be worked on and repaired. It will be ready in December 2024. But the Paris Olympics is coming up, so what's going to happen is they might have it complete enough to the point where they'll be like, "Hey guys, the Olympics is on. We need this to be a tourist destination. Come on in. We want tourists to see this great cathedral." And I
Viva la France!
And I definitely want to see that before I die, because Paris, if there's one place I want to go before I die, it's Paris. And the Notre Dame Cathedral is a monument, like the Statue of Liberty or the Colosseum or the Pyramids of Egypt.
Yeah, anyway, I was there.
He's frozen.
Anyway,
there you go.
Hey, Jordan,
Froze up for a minute.
you kind of froze for a bit. So, long story short, I mean, that's the beauty of the architecture. I want to see it in Paris, the one in France someday.
Oh, definitely. I might have to track we have to track the best time for going. So the film
did
itself,
you actually scouted some of those locations as a resource for the adaptation you were doing?
What's that?
Were you checking out the places in Paris?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, one of the lucky things for us was at that time we had a satellite studio in one of the suburbs of Paris, in Montreuil.
Yeah, France, and
so
that's where a Goofy movie was made.
What's that?
At Walt Disney Animation Studios Paris, that's where a Goofy movie was made.
Jordan, can you please let Gary continue?
Yeah,
it was the studio of Paul and Gaetan Brizzi, and so we were able to go there and avail ourselves of their artists who could just go to Paris and sit and sketch the cathedral, and so many of the buildings around there are still kind of that era. So it was really handy. We were able to get a tour of the cathedral by a very reluctant young tour guide who did not like Americans, but I guess she drew the short straw that day and had to take us through.
And of course, they had to be French.
By the end of the day, she was fine. But it was pretty interesting. We had a historian take us through the city. Of course, we visited Victor Hugo's home, but some of the more historic and more I guess you would say historically accurate to that time sections of the city, where you could see the narrow streets and where the the upper stories of the buildings kind of cantilevered over the street to give the upper stories more floor space than the lower stories, but it also kind of cuts out the sunlight from above because the bottom stories, the two streets across the street from each other facing, and then the upper stories kind of go in like that and in like that, and yeah, it was pretty interesting.
Oh, yeah. I think it might be. Well, it was definitely quite a sight to use. So, if Victor Hugo loved it, and then I guess you loved it. So Disney was out making their adaptation, and by now Disney was conquering the world. I mean, their bread and butter was animated films. The last one, Pocahontas, had the world's biggest premiere outdoors in Central Park with 100,000 people attend. That's like Woodstock, a rock concert. Like the Beatles just came to town.
We we were not at the Pocahontas premiere at Central Park, but we
Yeah,
were
that makes sense because you were busy doing the other
What's that?
feature you were doing.
Are they? We
You were busy working on Hunchback while Pocahontas was premiering.
Yeah, we were flying into New York at that time for a recording session with I think with Kevin Kline and Demi Moore, and so while we were not at that premiere, we were flying over New York at that time, like when the fireworks were going off. We could see the fireworks from the airplane, down over Central Park. We went, they're doing Hunchback, or they're doing Pocahontas down there. So we landed, and we didn't have a recording session that night because it was already like 9-10 o'clock at night. By the time we got on the ground and got our luggage out of the plane and everything, and we're still like 3 hours back in California time, so we're not tired. And my co-director Kirk, he had a friend, the woman who was the singing voice of Esmeralda, Heidi Mollenauer, she and Kirk were dating. We met her at her first recording session, and she was a waitress at one of the it was a piano bar down in I guess it was in Soho, and she said, "Yeah, you guys should come over. We're gonna just come over and have a few drinks and just hang out." And we thought, okay, yeah. I mean, she was really nice and she was funny, and we said, yeah, well, let's do that. So we went down, spent hours there, and when we came back, she kind of came back with us, and she and Kirk, from that moment on, they were a couple. So we went to her bar that night of the Pocahontas premiere. Just like, yeah, let's go see Heidi down at her bar because we're in town, and we were probably recording her the next day. So we'll just check in with her. And there were the Pocahontas people there. They were just already just like whoopee. They were already in full party swing. But that's my extent of the Pocahontas rap party.
Yeah, what one heck of an experience is. But then again, Hunchback didn't exactly get the same treatment. So you still had to complete Hunchback, and by the way, one of these gargoyles is voiced by Jason Alexander. At first, I kind of thought it was is Quasimodo. Nope, it's one of the gargoyles is voiced by Jason Alexander. Now remember, this is Costanza on Seinfeld, and do you, oh, look at that! You got your own.
It's a pillow.
Yeah, this is Costanza from Seinfeld. That's voicing this gargoyle.
Yeah, George Costanza. He was really funny. I mean, they were all great. Mary Wicks was fantastic. Charles Kimbrough, who I guess we just lost this year, he was also just really funny. we've always had really good luck with our voice casts, and this was no exception.
Oh, well, I didn't know what role Mary Wicks played, but they saying the first time she had been involved with Disney, she was modeling for Cruella de Vil back in the day.
Yeah, Mary was a trip. She evidently nobody knew exactly how old she was because she wouldn't tell anybody. We asked her at one point. She said, "Honey, if I tell you, you wouldn't hire me." So, um, so we didn't know. Evidently, I guess Screen Actors Guild, they they require actors to fill in their age, so that they can get paid. It's part of the union. You have to tell how old you are. And she had a personal agreement. She tracked down the woman who wrote the checks, the one woman who wrote the checks in some building, upstairs in some office building downtown New York. And she tracked her down and had a personal arrangement with her that don't tell anybody, and so that one woman was like kind of the fulcrum to this and was able to keep Mary's secret. We knew she was the understudy to Margaret Hamilton in The Wizard of Oz. We knew that she was Lucille Ball's babysitter, so we knew she was pretty old.
Oh yeah,
Nobody knew exactly how old.
Wait a second. I didn't know what role she was playing, but was it that Granny Gargoyle?
She was the other gargoyle. She was Laverne.
Oh no, nice. So no one, since she was studying Margaret Hamilton and Wizard of Oz, no wonder you just put in that
and the
blatant
flying
Wizard
monkeys.
of Oz
Yep.
reference, like that the copy shot of the monkeys. Just
Yep.
it just did the same.
Was that on purpose?
We did that on purpose. And Will Finn animated that scene, and he said he made the monkey the pigeons that they're flying was kind of not great, like the monkeys from that scene, where the wings were kind of like halfway up and halfway down, or they didn't. It was not a full flap. It was just like kind of moving. It looks just like the flying monkeys, and that was Will's joke.
Well, well, this is definitely well, not only was there a joke, but there was also a close call swear. But it wasn't really a swear. It was a curse cut short in a church, no less. Benjamin was like, "Oh, you son of a," and Kevin Klein and Phil is just like, "Nope, cut that short. This is a church. We're not gonna do that here." So that almost as if Disney could just be on the brink of almost cursing, but you never do it. But you had close calls before in The Lion King. Timon was like, "Hey, gee, Puma, why do I always have to say good?"
Right. I mean, everybody knows what the joke is and what the next word is, and that's probably why the joke works. But yeah,
It's called implication.
it's called what?
Implication.
Implying.
Oh, implication. Right. Yeah.
So by now, Disney not only was able to dominate with their bread and butter in animation, but by now they had a website, official Disney.com. For the first time, users can go on their home computers, type in Disney.com in their Netscape web browser, and then look at Disney.com and find out the information about what's the latest Disney movie coming out, or what they're working on next, or anything like that, Oh, and CG had really become a mainstay for all the big movies. Twister, Independence Day, Dante's Peak, Armageddon. At that time, the disaster movie decided they were going to be in vogue. So they were like, you know what? Let's just see how much we can destroy using this CG technology. But you only using it just to make these awesome movies and multiplaying camera shots with caps that would put the one in Pinocchio to shame. Like that opening shot with the cathedral coming from over the clouds and then under it.
Through the
That
city.
is
Yeah.
that's awesome looking. I mean, I don't think
And
Walt
yeah, how'd you do it?
Don't ask me. I know. Oh, excuse me. It was like kind of a personal point of pride that we crashed the system a couple of times doing it because it was just so much information that. I mean, it was how we did it. It was basically the same as the multiplane. You know, it was all the different elements, and then figured out how they move against each other, and you know, like what focus diffusion and. But I think the multiplane was, man, I used to know this. Like I think it could have like 12 or 15 levels was all you could do, and that was a lot. And there were literally hundreds of levels in that scene. You know, of the
That is
clouds and the
awesome.
light rays and the ground plane and the back, you know, the deep background and the different rooftops and buildings and bridges and you know, just yeah, it was crazy. I mean, we did the same thing in the opening of Beauty and the Beast, going through that forest scene. It's not as obvious in that one because the architectural stuff you can really see how things kind of you know move against each other and parallax and all that. But yeah, it was a technique that we knew, and you know we had the same. Our head of layout was the same guy, and he really liked doing that, and he really liked pushing it. No, that was Ed Gertner.
That's some incredible stuff. And you guys thought you could make cinema. You thought you could make some prestige pictures with the animation studio. So the last one, it was targeting the difficult subject of racism. And then this film, now you're trying to make a statement about religious zealotry and the condemnation of whatever the heck they want to try to do it. But Frollo, voiced by Tony Jay, is an awesome villain, and he gets the best song in the movie. So it's like Hellfire.
Yeah.
And I mean that is, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, a very stylized gothic moment there.
And he sang it himself too. You know, he was you know a trained in Royal Shakespeare, but yeah, he was terrific. Not it's I mean it's an open secret, you know, it's a well-known thing, but we first worked with him on Beauty and the Beast as well. He was the asylum keeper, Monsieur Dark, that imprisoned Maurice, and he's got you know just a few lines, but he was so good and we liked him so much. And when he came in to audition for Frollo, we thought, and there were a lot of guys that came in to audition for Frollo, but when Tony came in, we said, oh, he's just so good, you know, he's just got it.
yes, and yeah, religious corruption, just what we need for a lighthearted family summer blockbuster.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, the original and a lot of the older movies, Frollo was the archdeacon, or the archbishop of Notre Dame, and we were not prepared to go quite that far. You know, we didn't want to go up against the Catholic Church in a Disney movie. So, and we said, well, heck, everybody hates politicians. Let's make him a politician. So, you know, rather than have him be an officer of the church, he was a government official.
Oh man, oh man, what crazed religious zealotry.
Yeah.
But you still but you still didn't want to mess around with the Catholic Church. I mean, don't mess around with the Pope. I mean, I mean, I don't even know what's gonna happen with that guy who made that crazy photo, the fake photo with the Pope in a puffer jacket. I mean, like, where's that guy? I mean, the Pope don't wear no puffer jacket.
Yeah,
And
that's
that
some kind of
photo,
meme I'm not aware of.
What was the photo?
a Pope wearing a puffer jacket. It's fake. It's bogus.
Yeah, I mean, but I mean,
Yeah, it's a
starting with
21st
Photoshop and
century,
now with
Jordan. The internet
AI,
don't
boy,
care.
you can do anything, right?
Yeah, only this was one of those crazy moments, but I know you couldn't mess around with the Pope, so at least you had a good go ahead just to try to get this movie out, and then you did get out in summer of 1996, and at this point, Disney movies were pretty much gonna be grossing around the 150 million to 170 million range domestically. This was just and they will make up a lot of that with the red hot video sales. Like
Right.
people could just go to Blockbuster, rent them, and watch them at their own homes.
It was a big part of their business plan then. Yeah.
And and it definitely paid off. So since Jeffrey Katzenberg was no longer there, just because of his little humiliation with Michael Eisner and stuff, apparently someone else had to take over his previous position, and it was I mean Mike Ditka. I kind of wish Mike Ditka would have
It wasn't Mike Ditka, but yeah, that would have been interesting.
yeah. It was someone else then. So you now had a different guy to report to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. What was it like with that changing of the guards?
It was kind of chaotic when it first happened because it hit everybody by surprise. Um, you know, we had met with Jeffrey a day or two prior to that, you know, with Alan Menken and Stephen Schwartz, and talking about music and talking about songs and song placement and all of that. And yeah, it was a normal Jeffrey meeting, and we had no idea. And then Kirk had heard somewhere that there was a rumor that Jeffrey was going to leave, and nobody believed it except Kirk. And Kirk always says, "Believe the rumors. The rumors are always true." So when he left, it was, I mean, it was just announced like one morning, like a Tuesday morning or whatever it was, and it was, people were like out in the hallway going, "What's going on? Who's in charge?" Um, and it was that way for a few days, and I think I don't know if David Staten took the reins quite that early, but we had always reported to Peter Schneider and Tom Schumacher, and we kept reporting to them. So that was, that didn't really change. And Roy Disney was still, was still at the helm, so we
yeah,
we still reported to him. Um, so when it was, when it came time um, to present a song like Hellfire, we didn't have Jeffrey there to look at it. He was there in the early part, trying through character design and early script development and that kind of thing. But after that, it was like Roy Disney and Michael Eisner, Tom and Peter, and that's Michael Eisner liked the original Victor Hugo book. He liked the story, and he felt that to soften the song Hellfire would be to be doing it a disservice, and hurting the film, like hurting the story. So he was behind it, staying that way. We were nervous as heck, when we showed it to Roy Disney and Michael Eisner. It's like, oh man, we're never going to get this by them, and they were good with it. So, I mean, the one thing that Roy said, um, I mentioned Paul and Gaetan Britzi, the guys that, in the Paris studio, and they were in the United States, and they storyboarded that sequence, and they kind of locked themselves in their office. They're twin brothers, and they locked themselves in their office. It felt like a week, that they just never came out. And then they came out with all these boards and presented it on a little cassette, reel-to-reel cassette recorder of the song. Well, they pointed to the drawings on the board, and we were all just, oh my God, watching it. Um, we said it was because they were French that their drawings of Esmeralda in the fire, she was not wearing her costume; she was nude, and so Roy said, "You're gonna take care of that, right? She can't be naked." And we said, "Yeah, no problem." So every so often, I will hear um, some rumor about how Esmeralda's naked in the fire song. And I can tell you, I sat with the head of special effects at that time, and we went through every single drawing to make sure that she was appropriate. Every single drawing.
Yeah. Well, the last thing a Disney film really needs is naked women.
Right.
I was gonna say a scandal.
Yeah, definitely a scandal.
Yeah.
But not by now you were in trouble with some of these little Southern Baptists, and you were also in trouble with PETA over this thing called Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the gist of
I
that
think he's
was.
talking about like, general history with the criticisms over the
the
years.
PETA stuff, and Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom. They were prepping Animal Kingdom for a 1998 opening, and PETA was like, no, you can't have these animals presented here as entertainment and stuff especially from this mouse house. So they kind of took a hard time, give Disney a hard time, and
Yeah.
if so it looks like
Yeah,
looks
Disney
like
had a love for nature. I mean, that's part
the
of his
Southern
legacy.
Baptists, yeah, they were upset with us because Esmeralda was an exotic dancer.
Oh
They
man.
said, well, that's not good. You can't have an exotic dancer in a Disney film. And we said, well, check out the source material. That's what we're doing. And if you don't like it, you don't have to watch it. And so they didn't. They boycotted. They were also furious that the Demi Moore, the actress who did the voice, at the same time she was doing a couple other films as well. I know G.I. Jane was one of them, and the other one was Striptease. And so they were just all up in arms, like your actress is a stripper, and we went, she's an actress. She's a grown adult. She can choose what she wants to do to work. This is her profession. This is her job. And what she does in Striptease has absolutely nothing to do with what she does in Hunchback of Notre Dame. They didn't see it that way, and they still boycotted. But yeah, that was part of it. And they were sure that we were making fun of the church or speaking poorly of the church, which was like the last thing we wanted to do. As I said, we made Frollo a politician rather than a part of the clergy. So yeah, I mean, it was just stupid.
Well, I mean, that was the only change you made. Wasn't like Phalis like a baddie in a book or something like that?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
kind of shifted
yeah.
around or something.
He was not a noble or honorable character in the book. He was the only one that lived in the book too. And I think the last, like the postscript by Victor Hugo was that Phoebus lived, but he got married, which was a fate worse than death.
Man.
We said, well, no, that's we're not gonna. Again, some of the liberties we took with the storytelling.
Definitely not having the Order 66 on your characters. Just to say true to the novel. I mean, this is Disney. I mean, that had to go out. I mean, the part with the Little Mermaid was turning into sea salt. That had to be chucked out too. Yeah. And some other materials, adaptations of darker stuff in Pocahontas like that to be chucked out as well. It's all for the Disney brand.
Disney, yeah. And that was the balancing act that we had to do, because we didn't want to anger the French. Basically, we didn't want to anger and start a war with France because we were tromping all over this beloved national treasure of literature with our great big Hollywood cartoon boots. But at the same
Yeah,
time,
yeah, this does sound like a pretty big deal. I mean, this is the same
right?
author of Miss Rob we're talking here.
Yeah. At the same time, we're trying to do a Disney film, which a lot of people have said. Well, it's I think Tab Murphy. Um, he was our original writer. We had other writers along the way, but he wrote the original screenplay, and he said Hunchback of Notre Dame is the most R-rated PG movie you'll ever see.
Oh man, now that is that's some dark stuff. I mean, holy mackerel. Oh man, but you still had a successful movie anyway. It was still a successful home media release, so a home VHS release. So you still had to
Yeah,
keep
it
going
wasn't it
on
wasn't
through
as
this.
successful as the company had hoped. They always want more, but
Yeah,
yeah,
oh
it
man,
did okay.
yeah, they always want more, right?
Yeah,
Because they're gonna increase the prices on Disney Plus, and I was like, oh come on, man, why do you have to do that to me? And I asked Chat GPT about a better way to say than better way to describe Disney right now
Well,
than
isn't there like a general inflation going on here?
something like that. But how about let's just say Disney is money minded and profit driven right now, just to try to get the prices up on Disney Plus.
yeah. Well,
It's a better way to say it than just underground ghetto talk. But you still have like 4 years on each movie, and every movie you just took at every movie was at a different stage in development during this particular time. Like by the time you finished Hunchback, the other movie, the next one was already in the animation process. So
well
next
underway. Yeah,
week, Ron and John return to direct another film based off of Greek mythology.
right.
Okay, yeah, before we go, man, just wanted to say that mm, I definitely love like the artistic visuals that you have for the visual adaptation. I mean, even the Gothic architect, yeah, man, we were learning at the high school art history class. I mean, yeah, that movie was presented when we were building our little gargoyles here.
Uh-huh. I
Yeah,
like it.
yeah, it's kind of
What
hard
is
to
it?
tell, but I have like some interchanges with like the angry eyes and the three arms. I mean,
What is that?
a
What is
pretty
that
wild
made of?
concept I had. I mean, it's so meow
Is that
wolf.
like clay or what is that?
Yeah, it's clay, mixed up with some kind of, cementy, like texture for the surface. Got like this holes in the back. You can use like a whistle.
Oh,
I'm still not quite sure how to work this thing out.
I don't I don't. Well, I mean, not quite the same as a harmonica, or or a flute or something like that. Not or an ocarina or any of these other instruments where it's like you have a holder and then you like that in there. And I mean, well, that's a very nice looking piece of artwork there, Sarah. I definitely enjoy it. I mean, what do you think, Gary?
Thank you.
I mean, as a gargoyle, that is absolutely like right in the right in the pocket. When I mentioned we did that tour um,
Mm,
of the cathedral, and she let us go kind of in areas where the public is not allowed to go because there's gates up there.
mhm,
You can go along the front balcony of
mm,
the bell towers. There's a top balcony. You can go along the front and you can go around one of the towers, and that's all you can do. Or you can go through one of the towers. You can't go all the way around it. But she let us go around it and let us go in the other tower, and you could see all the gargoyles, and they're all different. And there's like a wild boar gargoyle, and there's a chicken, and there's the ones that the famous ones, the one with the horns, and um, so yeah, it would totally fit right in.
under special authorization from a company that has now gone worldwide. And believe me, they're still worldwide to this very day. So different laws apply in different countries and stuff. And one last question, that might be unrelated, but not quite in the same way as the Hunchback of Notre Dame, because we already talked about that. Just what, for some of the adults here, what is like your favorite episode of Seinfeld or favorite moment on Seinfeld?
This is a George Costanza question.
Yeah, apparently.
God, it's been so long since I've seen Seinfeld. I'd have to think about that.
Yeah, if my dad was here, I think he would choose like the one with the, Frogger machine.
That was pretty good. I mean, the one that always pops to mind, and I don't know if it's my favorite or just because it's more memorable to me, is when Kramer adopted some highway, like a stretch of highway, and just painted out the lines because he thought that the lanes were too narrow, and it was more luxurious to just swerve around. And it ended up with Newman, just getting, I can't remember what it was, like some piece of machinery stuck under his truck and flames, and it was just nuts.
Oh man, I probably better tell my brother about that. Because coming from you, who has directed Jason Alexander in a voice booth before, just to play this one little gargoyle who's a sidekick to Quasimodo.
We had for the rap party for Hunchback, it was like kind of a thing at that time. We didn't start it. I think one of the other productions started it, but we jumped on board. That the directors would shoot like a little film, to show the audience before the main feature came on, like a little skit or something. And so we came up with something where Kirk and I are late to the we're late to the party, and it was us just running, the two of us running, and somebody in a car like driving next to us with a little video camera as we're like running through the streets of Burbank, and then occasionally getting sidetracked by, oh look, a hot dog stand, we got a little time, then we go and eat. But it started with us playing poker with Jason Alexander. We were just like in a poker game, and one of our assistants comes running up and says, "You guys, it's the rap party." We're like, "Oh crap, that was today? Oh, we gotta go." And Jason was like, "Got a full house." All right, he just like cleared the table. But yeah, I mean, he came and he shot that little film with us, which was, we thought, awfully nice of him.
A little bit of a Seinfeld moment right there with you.
Yeah. I mean, it ran. We were running through the streets, and then we took some footage of the actual theater that we knew that the screening was going to be in, with us running in the front door. And then at that time, we just ran down the aisles. The film stopped and we ran in. So it was really fun. I have no idea whatever happened to that film, but it was.
I don't know. I mean, you might have to. Someone has to figure out a way to dig through the archives. I just.
It's got to be somewhere.
Disney would figure out a way to dig through the archives and restore their stuff, because later this month, I believe next week, they're going to unleash a 4K restoration of Cinderella, which was actually pretty cool that they were able to restore that with my buddy that in California that gave me the tour of the Disney studio, Eric Goldberg. He gave me the tour of the Disney studio in California.
Eric did?
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Wow. That's great. Eric is like, to my mind, one of the greatest living animators. He is fantastic.
A very special privilege for me and and my dad who
Yeah.
went on a trip with me. So
Yeah.
we thank you for having you, and
Yeah, thanks for coming here again.
Sure.
yeah, okay.
Mhm.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
goodbye, au
Well,
revoir.
well, aloha. We'll see you. We'll see you in the future.
Yay. Bye.